Hey everybody. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to draw a multiview. And before I begin with my multiview, I want to spend some time inspecting my isometric pictorial, which is pictured in the top right corner of my screen. So when I'm inspecting the isometric, some of the first things I want to look at are the overall height, width, and depth. So if I'm looking at the overall height, or the distance from top to bottom, the overall height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. My overall width, or my distance from left to right, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units. And then my depth, or my overall distance from front to back, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. Once I'm done identifying the overall height, width, and depth, I also want to spend some time figuring out what the front, top, and right sides are so I can make my multi-view drawing a lot easier. To begin, I'm going to start off by identifying my front face, which is the face that has the most information. And typically with the multi-views that you're going to be working with, the isometric is already set up in the correct orientation. So the front face is going to be right here, and I'll highlight this in red. Next, I'm going to identify my top face. So this is whatever faces you can see when you're looking at the object from up above. So that means that I can see this top face here in yellow and also this top face here. Lastly, I'm going to identify my right side view, which is going to be the remaining faces. And these two faces are going to be seen when I'm looking at my object from the right side. So now that you have that information identified in your isometric pictorial, you're going to want to start drawing construction lines to map out the overall shape of the object. So when you're drawing your own multi-view, the first thing you want to do is lay out your construction lines so you have a frame of reference of where to draw your front, top, and right side views. So I'm going to take a ruler and definitely use a pencil at this point, and you're going to draw really light marks to frame out your drawing. So once I have these first two lines drawn, I know that my overall width is 9 units. So I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, move my ruler to that point, and draw a construction line. So these 9 boxes here are showing my overall width. I know my overall height is 7. So I'm going to do a similar thing and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 along the vertical line. And now I have my overall height laid out for my front view. The reason why I drew the line all the way across is because we want to keep in mind that the right view has the exact same height as the front view. So this is going to be my guide over there as well. Now, if we move up to my top view has the exact same width as my front view, so a lot of that information is already there. So my job is to leave a little bit of space between the front view and the top view. I'm going to go ahead and say, let's leave 3 boxes, and I'm going to count 5 units back and draw another line. So here is my boundary, here, and my little space of 3 boxes. And I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to draw my depth, just like that. Now it's time to do the right side view. For the right side view, I'm going to be consistent and I'm going to keep my 3 unit depth. So I'll draw that line there. And now it's time to do the depth again. So I'll count 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that you have your construction lines planned out, you're ready to start putting down object lines to actually trace out the shape of the object. So in my front view, which is shown right here, I'm going to use object lines to draw out the shape of that L. So that L is the only shape that I can see in this front view. I know the top face of the L is 2 units wide, and then it goes down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. So I'll take my ruler and I'll draw down 5 units. Go ahead and draw that again just to make sure that it stays directly on the line. And then I know from that point it goes all the way across until that blue boundary that I already planned out. And now the rest of the lines that I initially made construction lines, I can turn into object lines by tracing over them with a slightly darker mark. And that's my finished front view. Now I'm ready to draw out my top view, which is pictured directly above the front view. And a couple things you want to keep in mind is that if you picture this isometric pictorial and you're looking at it from the front view, when you tilt it towards you and you're viewing the top view, all of these lines from your front view are going to be consistent with the top view. Here's what I mean. This object line here that we drew on the front view is going to be consistent with the top view. It's going to be right in line. And then the right side view is also going to be right in line. So if we compare this, and we're looking at this narrow strip with the yellow, I can see that it has a width of 2 units. If we look at this shape here in the top view, this also already has a width of 2 units. So most of this information is already here for you based on your front view. So if we were to take these 2 yellow shapes and bring them up to the exact same plane, it's going to look something like this. So right now I'm tracing over my blue construction lines with my heavier black object lines. And I have my top view. Now, similarly, the exact same thing is going to happen with the right view. If I were to pick up this isometric pictorial and hold it in my hand as if it were a 3D object and tilt it to the right, all of these lines from the front view are going to be consistent. So I'm going to see something like this to show that narrow green strip at the bottom. From here, I can take my ruler. I can check the large green square, which has a total height of 5 and a total width of 5 units. So that's consistent with the box that I have drawn here. And the narrow shape at the bottom has an overall width, or in this case, depth of 5, and a height of 2, which is consistent with my drawing. So once you have that information planned out and you have your front, top, and right side views completed, you can go in and lightly erase your construction lines. You're going to still see a few remnants of mine here. And that's your completed multi-view. So a couple things that you also want to keep in mind with multi-views is your front, top, and right faces are never going to be shaded because they're all two-dimensional objects, so we don't need to show any kind of light variation. So once you have this information plotted down, you are complete and good to go. So good luck practicing on the next one, and feel free to use this as a guide as you move forward.